Alright guys, welcome back into another PGA DFS video. This week we got the Sony Open, and this is one that I'm looking forward to. It's a full tournament field event where we have, some good course history, we finally have current form, we have some stats to go off of, and just looking at the player pool that DraftKings, or the salaries that DraftKings released for their player pool, the 7K and the value range are just loaded. So it will make lineup construction pretty interesting because you can kind of do whatever you want this week, and we'll touch on that and the player pool after we get into last week's recap. So real quick, last week was a good week. Pretty happy with the content I put out there on the website and on the video. Last week was weird though. Day one, cashing pretty well. Day two came back down to pretty much break even. Day three going negative, and then Sunday it came back up, had a shot to win on a couple of lineups actually. Garrett Woodland pretty much needed to win and he didn't do that. Lanto Griffin was a strong value play, like I said on last week's video. Griffin was the lowest value play you could play for that would definitely exceed his value pretty much, and he did just that. Ryan Palmer did fine as well. It's pretty much just nailing the leader, which, we had a little bit of Justin Thomas sprinkled in there, had a little bit of Xander sprinkled in there. And then on the website, I kind of explained the strategy that, when you're going through your builds on the small tournament field events, you can't really be married to your player pool. So you kind of get the 4 to 10 players that you yourself really like, and make your builds around that. And then once you settle into, your 5th or 6th golfer, you just kind of play the salaries that you have left over. So that's how I landed on, having Kisner, Ricky, and Patrick Reed in some of my builds. And like I said, those were the 6th and 5th players into my builds. But overall, not a bad week. I didn't actually take down GPP, had one top 100 finish. The rest, did fine. Profitable week, so that's always good. But this week should be a better one. It's a full tournament field event, and I'm looking forward to it. I will mention the players that had played last week, they're already in Hawaii. They don't have to go on a flight. They don't have to deal with the nuances of flying like that, so they're a little bit more settled in. And typically we do see players that played the previous week play better this week. So that is something, if 50-50 decision maker once again this week. If you're debating playing, one guy or the other, use that as a 50-50 decision maker. But let's get into the stats for this week. So the stats I'll be looking at this week are going to be ball striking, total driving, driving accuracy, and then also we will be looking at greens and regulation. Now, if you want to look at proximity, that'd be fine for me as well. Typically, the player that plays well at this course is going to be someone that's more of a short course specialist. So if you guys want to pull that up as a blanket stat, you could do that as well. Course history here, we see it. There's been a lot of players that have played here previously. Webb Simpson has tremendous course history. Justin Thomas has won at this course before, so he's going to be a strong play this week. Andrew Putnam's played really well at this course. Mark Leishman, Charles Howell, those guys are all going to be guys with some good course history. Cam Smith and Ches Reavie are 2 other players that have good course history. Kevin Kisner as well. We're looking at the players that have some good current form. Obviously, Justin Thomas, Patrick Reed, Hideki Matsuyama, Sanjay M, and then also you could go down to someone like Andrew Putnam. So that's kind of just the basic breakdown of this week. Let's get into the player pool for this week. We'll start out with the high tier. All right, so starting off here, I do really like Webb Simpson as a starting point, but this week it's loaded. I wouldn't blame if you guys play any of them. Obviously, Justin Thomas has just been on a tear. Every single one of his starts, except for one where he had a T17, has been a top 10 finish, has been a top 5 finish. So obviously he's just been on a tear, but if you play him, you're paying $12K for him. And, his course history is pretty good. 16th, 14th, 1st, and miscut. So obviously good course history, but I think I might just go down to Webb Simpson here, who his last 3 years playing this course have been 4th, 13th, and a 13th finish. So slightly better. I don't know. I mean, obviously, without the miscut for Justin Thomas, if you take that out, it's a little bit better. But Webb Simpson is the best overall stat fit, according to my model, the best overall play, according to my model. But then we got Patrick Reed here, who also just a really strong play. He's been really dominant as well. Obviously, 2 back-to-back top 5 finishes. He's a really strong stat fit here as well. Last time he played this was last year, and he finished 13th with the 13th finish. So don't mind that. Hideki relatively has struggled for his price points, I guess. 51st finish here last year, 27th finish in 2017. But he grades out really well, especially if you're looking at my 3 core stats for the week, which are going to be ball striking, driving accuracy, and greens and regulation. He's the best at those 3 as well. So I think Hideki's going to be a strong play. Obviously, he's been playing some great golf. Colin Morikawa has been a cut maker this whole year. This does seem like a course that would set up really well for him as well. He's just been a cut maker, so I don't mind him. I don't think I'll pay up for him. I do like the idea of playing Matt Kuchar, who won here last year. He had a 13th finish the year before that. We know Matt Kuchar. He's a guy that can put the ball where he wants to, and then if he's making putts, he can go out and win it on any week. The strange thing about Kuchar this week, he has been bogeying quite a bit, so that was a little bit worrisome. Sungjae Im, I think I'd be fine with starting a lot of my builds out here. On full tournament field events, the typical strategy in cash is a balance build, so I don't mind starting the build out with Sungjae Im. He's really strong stat fit, top 10 in the field this week. He had a 16th overall finish at this course the first time he played it, so good strong play for you this week. Charles Howell, yes, he did have the miscut at his last event. You don't like to see that, but what you do like to see is his course history here. 8th, 32nd, 8th, and 13th. We know who Charles Howell is as a player. He's a good total driver, good ball striker, fine putter, top 20 in that, and strong greens regulation, top 50 in that. So obviously the high tier is pretty loaded. We'll get into the mid tier here. It's not as strong, and I think I'd rather just go down to the low tier, and we'll touch on that as well. All right, so getting into the mid tier here. We'll I don't know. I don't know. I want to do the balance build this week, and obviously, if you're doing that, you kind of have to go with the mid tier here. Alex Noren's fine. Kevin Kisner is a fine play as well. 4 straight made cuts at this course, including 2 top 5 finishes. But he just hasn't been playing the greatest lately. I know his last 2 events were pretty good, but before that, it was a little bit iffy. Brent Snedeker, just feels like we're paying up a lot for a made cut there, so that worries me a little bit. Cam Smith. Sure, this is a fine play as well. 22nd finish here last year, 18th year before that, 27th year before that. He's 7th in birdie or better percentage, which is fine. Top 40 in ball striking, strokes gained, and total putting. So I don't mind that play. I'm not overly confident for him to make the cut. He should. It's likely, but I just don't like paying up for that price, especially when I talk about some of the other values that are a little bit lower. Ches Reavie's going to be a fine play here. 3rd overall finish here last year, 18th year before that, 8th year before that, and 42nd year before that. We know who Ches Reavie is as a player as well. He's kind of, if you want to say, he's a poor man's version of Matt Kuchar, I guess. So he's Charles Howell, maybe, if you want to say that. I don't mind him as a play this week. The price point's fine on him. Brian Harman, he struggled last year. And, he missed the cut last year at this course as well. Before that, he had 4 straight top 20 finishes, so I don't mind him as a play. The play that I'm going to roll with the most in this range is going to be Andrew Putnam, priced at $8K. Putnam had a 2nd overall finish here last year and then a made cut the year before that, so that's good. But what we like is he's top 30 in total driving, ball striking, strokes gained total, total putting. He's 75th in greens of regulation and driving accuracy. So all the stats are kind of there that suggest Andrew Putnam's going to keep this hot streak that he's been on this fall and have a pretty successful week this week as well. But like I said, that mid tier isn't as good. We'll get into the low tier here. I'm with Sebastian Munoz as a play, but I think I'd just rather go with Brian Stewart. He's at an 8th finish here, a 4th finish, and a 45th finish in the last 3 years here. We know Stewart is a very accurate player. 10th in driving accuracy. He's top 60 in ball striking, total driving, strokes gained total, putting, and then he's 77th in greens and regulation as well. So I do expect him to have a pretty solid week this week. Obviously, he's in really strong current form. Obviously, had a really good fall swing there. So I wish the 7K range is pretty loaded, and you guys will see that. I keep saying that, but it's true. So going a little bit lower here, Russell Knox going to be a strong play, going to be a strong cash play for you this week. He should make the cut. He has a high likelihood to. He's made 3 straight cuts here at this course with 2 top 11 finishes. He had a missed cut 4 years ago at this event, but he's top 60 in total driving, ball striking, strokes gained total, total putting, greens regulation, birdie or better percentage, and also driving accuracy. He's been in some really strong form recently. 3 straight made cuts at this course, 3 straight made cuts on the year. Russell Knox at this price point is going to be tough for me to avoid. But same thing for Stewart, but there's going to be some stronger plays a little bit lower, like I said. So a little bit lower, we got Grillo, Palmer, Griffin. They're all stacked together, which I guess I get it. Grillo has made 3 straight cuts here at this course. 22nd, 47th, and a 33rd finish. He's top 20 in total driving. He's 3rd in ball striking, 4th in greens regulation, 34th in driving accuracy. So the stats are there that suggest that he's going to have a make cut. Obviously, he's had 3 straight make cuts, which is something that we also like to see. So he's checking all the boxes: stat fit, current form, recent form. We do like to see that. But same thing for someone like Ryan Palmer here. Ryan Palmer has only played this course twice in the last 4 years, a 58th finish in the most recent, and then a 13th finish 4 years ago. He's top 50 in total driving, ball striking, 74th in strokes gained total, which is fine. That doesn't matter too much at this course. 40th in greens regulation, 20th in birdie or better percentage, and 23rd in driving accuracy. Like I said, he is checking all the boxes as well: course history, stat fit, and then also recent form. Almost same for Lanto Griffin. Like I said in the previous video last week, he kind of mentally went out of it. It seemed like after he won, he struggled a little bit there, but he did bounce back last week like we thought he would. He's going to be a strong stat fit. He has played here before. He had a 58th finish the same year that Palmer did. He is top there. His total driving is 34th, ball striking 53rd, 14th in strokes gained total. His total putting is 6th overall. He does struggle in greens regulation, only 106 in that, which does worry us. He's 31st in birdie or better percentage, and he's not the most. He doesn't have the best driving accuracy as well, so that does worry you somewhat. But I still do like the price point of Lanto Griffin. We obviously know that he has upside to go out and do well. I'm going lower here. Ryan Armour. There are some other plays that I do want to touch on, but I don't want this video to be too long, so I'll just touch on Ryan Armour here. So Ryan Armour, he's had a 22nd finish, a 39th finish. He's 8th in driving accuracy, 52nd in greens or regulation. He's also, we know him for being a total driver and a good ball striker. He's 50th in ball striking, only 77th in total driving so far. I expect that number to get lower after this week. So I do really like Ryan Armour at this price point, and he has made 3 straight cuts, including, they're all been really solid finishes, all T33 or better. So that's something that we like to see as well. It does seem like his game's trending upwards a little bit, so that's not going to be a bad play to round out the lower tier range. Let's get into the value range. All right, so the value range. I do want to mention Kyle Stanley right there. That's going to be a fine play for you as well. All right, but let's go a little bit lower here. Value range is pretty loaded. I'm only going to mention 4 or 5 here, but I do think he goes studs and duds pretty easily. Obviously, Tyler Duncan is some really good form coming off that victory. He came back and played pretty well last week. This course does fit his style of game. We got Henrik Norlander here, who I'm surprised I'm mentioning him as a play, but his stats do check out. 8th in ball striking, 12th in greens regulation, and 27th in driving accuracy. His last finish here was a 20th overall. The year before that, he had a missed cut, however. That was 3 and 4 years ago. But Norlander has been playing pretty well this fall. I've already mentioned him like 2 or 3 times this fall, which is pretty surprising. So I do like Norlander as a play this week, especially at that price point, especially being a value play. Nick Taylor is going to be a fine play. He's a really solid stat fit, but the only problem with Nick Taylor is that events where he struggled at, like this one, he typically doesn't do well. And so that does worry me a little bit. DJ Trahan, so I don't get it. Our guy, we've played him the last 5 times we could, and he's done really well for us. Only missed 1 cut. He's 4th in total driving, 18th in ball striking, 61st in strokes gained total. He's 139th in total putting, so that's not good. But after that, 60th in greens in regulation, GERD, 34th in birdie or better percentage, and then also in driving accuracy. So the recent form's there, the stat fits there. He hasn't played this course in the last 4 years, but he does make for a really strong play at this price point. He's going to make for a great GPP play, especially if you're trying to do studs and duds. I do like his upside. I do like the stat fit. It is telling us that he should have a good week this week. If we're going a little bit lower, it's pretty loaded. Doc Redman's going to be a fine play for you. But there's a play that I want to touch on separately. That's going to be Chasen Hadley, who, I just like the price point of him, 6.4K. There's going to be other players in this price range that are going to be fine as well, but 16th in ball striking, 16th in greens of regulation, 80th in driving accuracy. He's also 45th in total driving and 62nd in strokes gained total. The recent form has relatively been there. It's been a little spotty. I get the price point for him. I get the price point for all these guys. There's a little bit something missing. They're not checking all the boxes like some of the players in the 7K, 8K, or 9K range. But they do seem a little bit priced down. A lot of these guys should have success in the value tier. All right, that's all I have for you guys for this video. If you enjoyed it, please give me a like and subscribe. I do appreciate it. I'm sorry that it went a little long. There's a lot of plays this week, and I'm really looking forward to the first full tournament field event of 2020. If you guys want to check out the website, please do. Posts will be available on Tuesday. We'll have the membership page post going. You guys saw the free sample of it last week, which was pretty good. And now this week we'll be adding in our favorite cash plays and our favorite GPP plays to the player pool as well, and that'll be available on the website for members. The link will be in the description below. All right, thanks guys. We're out.